Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another video game review. This time it is going to be on Bloodborne. Yes, I actually was able to beat this game just like I did with Dark Souls. Now, Bloodborne is the successor to Dark Souls, which was a successor to Demon Souls. In this game, you play as a man or a woman, depending on which character you want to play as, in this world of, I think it's like London or something, and you're basically called a hunter, and from here on out, just like in Dark Souls, you have to beat multiple bosses in order to defeat the main final boss, or one of the possible different final bosses in the game by the time you get to the end. You can go to this world called the Hunter's Dream, where you go to give your blood echoes, which is the currency that you get in this game, by this doll woman who helps you level up throughout your experience. And from there, you're on your quest, pretty much. Now, just like Dark Souls, the game's pretty straightforward. It doesn't have like side quests or anything like that. It's basically just like Dark Souls, but there are some differences. Unlike shields, which you can use, which are basically your defense, there are no shields in this. At least there are, but they're not as useful as in Dark Souls, okay? Basically, your main tactic for parrying is a gun. That's right, there are guns in this game, but it's not like a run and gun game, no. You just shoot it, hopefully the guy will get stunned, and then you can take him out easily. So yeah, it's basically used for parrying. Like, you're going to want to try and parry, try to master the art of parrying throughout the game. But you got to be careful because you do run out of ammo in this game. But you can get by, farming, for dead corpses and stuff like that. Also, when you do get hit by enemies, you do have the chance to get that health back by hitting the enemy's back at just the right time. Also, this game has more of a horror vibe. Maybe that's why I love it more. Because, throughout the game, there's like these werewolves or wolf-like creatures and some really freaky enemies. Like, there's a lot of slashing and stuff like that. And it's more bloodier than Dark Souls as well. Also, the game is a lot more atmospheric, like the world, it lures you in, and despite its difficulty, it's another type of game that I just did not want to give up on, okay? The bosses in this game are really tense and really creative. Like, there is not a single dull moment throughout this entire experience that I had with the game, okay? I played this game since the beginning of 2018 and never got to finish it until earlier this morning. And it's still morning. The game manages to be super well paced. Like, there's not a single dull moment. Well, I just said that. But one of the first main bosses you encounter is really challenging, and it gives you a perfect way of what to expect when you get further into the game. Like, unlike Dark Souls, this game has multiple forms. Bosses in this have multiple forms, from 2 phases to 3 phases, mostly just 2 phases. But each one gets more tense and more extreme, so you really have to be careful. Try to do as much damage as possible, but this game requires a lot of patience, and I did die quite a bit in this, just like I did with Dark Souls, okay? And just like Dark Souls, if you lose those blood echoes, you do have the option to go back where you died and get them. Unless you die again, then then you have to get that amount back. It could be just 0. But still, the game never managed to slow down for me. Like, I did get scared, I did get nervous when going in, because this is a game that I really wanted to try my hardest to beat. Because it's not easy, okay? It might even be just a tad bit more difficult than Dark Souls, okay? Like, probably my pick for hardest boss throughout the entire series has to be the Orphan of Kos from the Old Hunters DLC. Well, sort of. Here's the thing. Orphan of Kos is known to be the hardest boss, like one of the hardest bosses of all time, even harder than Ornstein Smaug from Dark Souls 1. I managed to beat him on my first try. I'm not even kidding. Like, seriously, you can call me a liar all you want, but it's true. It is possible. I have watched videos where people managed to beat him on your first try. It was probably the most satisfying thing I've ever done in my life. And that's the thing. The game is super rewarding. It truly rewards you for all the completion and all the progress that you make. And because it has more of that horror vibe, it's a little bit more harder to get into because of how disturbing it is. Like, some of the bosses and the creatures can be really disturbing. Like, there's these brain suckers that can just suck your brain out. Like, it was just really frightening. And It kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense that you actually do manage to survive one of those, but hey, it doesn't matter. Also, there are tons of characters throughout the game that you can interact with. While they aren't in the game that much, they're only there just for those one specific scenes, but they all of them have some interesting things to say. And the boss characters are also really interesting too. Even though you don't really hear much of their backstory, I mean you do from certain other characters, but it's one of those games where when you're experiencing this game, you can have so many theories as you go throughout your journey, just like in the Soul series did. And knowing that this is a PS4 exclusive, it's probably one of the best PS4 exclusives of all time. In fact, it is. I put it really high on my best PS4 games of all time list. And we are going to get a PC remaster from what I've heard, or not remaster, a PC port from what I've heard, because they did that with Horizon Zero Dawn and Death Stranding. We're also going to be getting a PS5 port from what I've heard. So yeah, so people who never own a PS4 and are planning to get a PS5, then it's definitely going to be your chance. But this game is definitely not going to be for everyone, just like the Dark Souls series is. Okay, it's just as challenging, if not a tad bit more challenging, even though there are possibilities where if you do get hit, you can hit your enemies back and they'll give you a little bit of health back. Also, there's a lot of optional stuff, like you can get these chalices that unlock dungeons, optional dungeons, you know, challenging like how far you've gotten throughout the game. Some of them can be pretty easy if you do them later down the line, but there are a lot of chalices you can get that are a lot more harder the more that you get them and you progress through the entire game. But Bloodborne to me is everything I wanted from Software's magnum opus of really tough games. And it's truly a work of art, in my opinion, okay? The strategic and tense combat is still there. It's still just as well paced. You can still play the game co-op online, that is. And there's never a time where the game fully crashed for me. I mean, the game does lag quite a bit on PS4. Maybe they can fix that with the PS5 remaster. But all in all, Bloodborne to me, it's everything I wanted, okay? It's horrific, it's deep, it's tense, it's scary, it's tough, it's rewarding, it's all those things. I loved every second of this game. I wanted to get the Old Hunters DLC just so I could beat Orphan of Kos, and I'm glad that I did. The mainstream game is fantastic, the DLC fantastic. This game is a masterpiece. I love it, and I hope one day we do get a sequel, or they do announce a sequel. We probably aren't going to get a sequel, since Demon's Souls never got a sequel. We are going to get a remake to that, but it doesn't really matter to me. This game is still amazing, and it has so much replayability after being the main game. Like, I wanted to try getting the Platinum Trophy, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to do that on my first playthrough. I could do that one day, but for now, I managed to beat the game on my first playthrough, so there's that, okay? But it's still incredible. Bloodborne is a masterpiece. I'm gonna give it a perfect score, 5 out of 5, okay? I'm so glad I was able to beat this. These games are so rewarding, okay, that maybe I'll beat the entire trilogy one day, the Dark Souls trilogy. But still, because this game came out, the franchise is known as Soulsborne now. It kind of has a ring to it, but yeah. I love this game, guys, and it's definitely worth the 100 hours I took trying to beat it. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. We're out.